All right, here we go. Welcome to the follow-up and the ABC pattern of week 4 in our accountability for the month of February. Last week, we spent a lot of time talking about booking the appointment, and we had a challenge for people to reach out and pop the question to try to get at least 10 people to see the plan. And you guys were extremely successful with that challenge. And so this week, we're going to now follow up to all of those prospects that we reached out to and starting engaging about our amazing business platform. So when we talk about duplication in the ABC pattern, really what we're talking about is the whole goal for us to generate a list of leads, right? And then in talking to our different prospects, that we're also able to continue building our business and creating duplication, whether that prospect becomes a customer, whether they lead you to additional people to view the plan or additional customers, right? We reward our customers for referring people our way, or whether they themselves see the plan exactly how we did and see the opportunity to build that ongoing income and want to partner with us in business. There's a few different ways that we duplicate, but you know, one of the things I was reiterating today when I was meeting with Max, one of our newest team members, is, you know, we've already put the system in place. Now what we're trying to do is teach each of our new unfranchised owners how to duplicate this system. There's no point and nobody has enough time to go try to reinvent the wheel, nor is there a need to do that. We've already built the system that we know is working, and so now we want to make sure we're really working the system. So think about all the time that you spent last week generating a lot of leads, popping the question, having really good, engaging conversations. You pop the question, you book the appointment for them to see the plan, they see the plan. That's about 80% of the work right there, okay? And now is time to wrap it up and finish the last 20%. So you should be reviewing your possibility list on a daily basis. At this point, you've got your top 10 prospects. You've created a filter, okay, from all of the different conversations that you've generated and from the people who have seen the plan, or perhaps you shared a video with them. And now is the time to follow up so that you can answer questions and figure out where these 10 prospects are at with regard to this business opportunity. And so 3 things that you have to have established, which the majority of you guys have done this, is you need to have updated answers to what is it that you do, what is this business, and what is your reason why you're doing it. We did a coaching call earlier before this team training, and the reason why came up. And I'm going to reiterate what I said during the coaching because I got some good feedback about it. But our reason why is not just to make money. There are so many things that you could do other than this business if all you wanted was just some money. Now, I'm not saying that money isn't a factor in the equation for you, but your why has to be more than just the amount of money you want to make. Because when the going gets tough, and every single entrepreneur out there eventually hits a time where they feel frustrated, your why needs to be able to carry you through that frustration. And that's something that you can talk about with your prospect. I remember talking to Lauren about this because her initial answer was to make money. Am I missing something? And I said, yeah, but you could go be a waitress and make money. You could work a couple extra nights. She said, yeah, but that's the thing. I don't want any more nights out of my home. I work nights as a nurse. And I said, aha, so now we're getting to it. And so I asked some more clarifying questions, and then all of a sudden she had this much deeper why. So you can use that as a way of engaging your prospect. So when you're scheduling the follow-up appointment, here's a few things to review. When somebody has seen the plan, you want to get their feedback. Just like we ask for people's feedback when they sample our products, whether they want to join the business or not, we want their feedback because this is a great opportunity for you to start practicing answering questions. Because regardless, even for someone who is interested in the business, they're going to have questions, right? So why not practice on the person who isn't interested? You never know where the conversation's going to go. And again, for those people that you've asked to do you a favor, the favor should include processing the information that they viewed so that you get better at prospecting. And so answering their questions is going to help you along the way. You need to have your schedule available and book the next step here, okay? So it's not going to be helpful if you're trying to book a follow-up and you don't have your schedule in front of you and you end up double booking yourself and then you have to reschedule this follow-up. It's hard enough to get the person live and engaging with you to schedule that follow-up meeting. Make it easier for yourself. Have your schedule open and visible. We just went through schedule the follow-up to get the questions answered. And then you also want to figure out during that follow-up, does your person need more information? Or perhaps when you're even asking for the follow-up appointment, a person may say to you, that was really great. I enjoyed watching that, but I think I need to see it again. It would really help me to see it again. And now you know what type of a meeting you are booking for them. This is the most critical piece here. And it's really hard because I know sometimes we don't want to come across as being pushy or too aggressive, but as soon as somebody sees the plan, a clock starts ticking, okay? And if you do not follow up with that person within 48 to 72 hours, you've basically lost that prospect. And you're waiting until the next, 60 to 90 days to go and re-engage them in the entire process. So if you think about the idea that you've just invested all of this time to engage them, to get them to see the plan, and then you decide you want to follow up a week after they saw it, you've just wasted that 80% of your time. It really went to nothing because at that point, they've now become distracted. They're focusing on something else. Perhaps, something else has come up in their life, or it's just not fresh in their mind, and they've sort of lost a little bit of interest. So just remember, that's why if your sponsor or somebody from your upline might be bugging you about booking that follow-up immediately after, is because we don't want you to get frustrated. We don't want you to feel like you're wasting time in the prospecting process. So when you're scheduling this follow-up appointment, it's really to accomplish a few things, right? You do want to answer their questions. You want to hear about their feedback. Okay, what did they like best about the presentation? That's Phil Guido's first question that he asks the prospect. And you also want to validate that during this presentation, this is exactly what I say. I'm sure during this presentation, you were already starting to think of different people that you think would be interested in seeing this presentation, right? And I sort of nod my head as I'm saying this, or if I'm on the phone, I'm like, everybody that I talk to always mentions, there were at least 2 to 3 people that they could immediately identify, to see this plan. And this is giving them the cue that if they haven't thought of those 2 to 3 people, that they're going to start right then and there. And so you want to get those people's names. Because now that you're taking the conversation to the next step, what you're doing is you're having them actually envision themselves in this business. This is also an opportunity to sell some product. You can ask, what did you think about all of those different products you heard about tonight? I'm curious, what is your number one health concern right now? Because even if they're not interested in the business, everybody always has some type of a health concern that they're looking to resolve or looking to improve. And so that may be a great segue into introducing some products. Then if someone is sort of on the fence, or perhaps they are interested, we want to introduce this idea about getting them to our next event. Perhaps it's your local UBP, perhaps it's a local seminar. For our area, we have our March 10th local seminar coming up. For someone who's interested in the business but is not quite ready to make that final decision, let's get them to local seminar. Because you know what? At that point, when they see Ronnie Robertson or whomever the speaker is going to be, they're going to be blown away at all of the different dynamics within this business. They're also going to get to meet some of your business partners. And isn't that, awesome? We do our, oh gosh, why can I not think about it? We do our recognition during the local seminar. Now, all of a sudden, you see that more than half of the room, sometimes 3/4 of the room, is standing up at recognition talking about their different pin levels, right? And that's really powerful to see that, most people are out of their seats versus, people sitting in their seats. That's showing that we really do duplicate this entire system and get people the success that they're looking for. Now, if the follow-up appointment ends up being an opportunity to launch that person into your business, then again, what your focus is going to be is absolutely selling them a ticket, right? Because like I explained to Max today, by getting to the March 10th local seminar, you're basically going to get 2 months worth of, say, weekly coaching calls or weekly coaching meetings. You're going to get in that quickly, all within one day, right? So for people that are on the fast track or are really looking to expedite their business building, they absolutely have to be at every single event, including International Convention that's coming up in August. And also, we know that it's at these events that we start to build our own personal belief, right? So it's an invaluable commitment. You have to make it. You also want to book their registration date, okay? So this is the time where you're going to get them completely registered in the business, because again, they may not have time during this actual appointment to go through the entire launch process, which you want to take your time and go through, because we're looking to make sure, we're picking the right business partner, not just a warm body, okay? We're really looking to partner with the best of the best, the most valuable assets to our business. And then we want to start working with this now new business partner to help qualify their top 10 possibilities, to immediately get them plugged into their launch event or to the next scheduled webinar, whatever it is. But that's part of the conversation as they're looking to come into the business. Now, you may find that the best way to do a follow-up is a one-on-one. Perhaps you're now comfortable enough that you feel like it's pretty natural for you to facilitate that follow-up meeting. You may feel completely inadequate and uncomfortable, conducting that follow-up appointment. And you know what? That's absolutely okay. We expect that at any point in time. You may be completely comfortable doing it the majority of the time, but here there may be a prospect that you're working with that is interested in a certain line of products that you really have no experience working with. So for example, I feel pretty confident, pretty well versed in this business, but when I was talking to a very strong prospect who was interested in web solutions, I actually brought Ryan into a three-way call. And, he did the majority of the talking because I am not as involved in web solutions. I know a basic amount of information which I had shared with this person, but because their background was so heavy into web design, they had questions that I really was unfamiliar with. So, Ryan was the best resource. And so it may be a 2-on-1 appointment. And you know what I also love about the 2-on-1 appointments is we are demonstrating the support that we brag about all the time in this business. Because I personally think it's one of the things that sets us apart from other home-based businesses, from other, opportunities out there, because the majority of people that have done something else, and you fill in the blank with whatever that other business is, the reason why they either didn't succeed or they didn't enjoy their experience is because they floundered and they didn't have the support that we maintain throughout the life of someone being a UFO. So I think right off the bat, we demonstrate that with the follow-up appointment. And you know what? Don't be afraid of it setting up a dynamic where people are thinking you don't know anything. That's not what it does at all. They're not thinking that. They're actually, they feel flattered and they're surprised that you're able to involve your upline in this process. Because again, when I say to people, yeah, I can, you want to talk to Ryan? I can get Ryan on the phone. You want to talk to Gary? I can get Gary on the phone. Let's get them on the phone and see what they have to say. People are like, really? Like, you know how to get in touch with them? Like, that's amazing. And it's like, yeah, no, they're very involved with the support and the growth of our business. It's one team, one dream. And then if you have prospects in another area, again, we have all the tools and resources. We can get them on a Zoom. We can do a virtual meeting. We can FaceTime. So that is not a problem. We will make it happen. So you may also find that perhaps the follow-up needs to be a webinar, or it needs to be now a home business presentation. See, maybe they attended a webinar the first time around and now they want to get additional details, and why not invite them to an event where they can now meet other people in the business. So a home business presentation or a UBP would be great options to plug them into. But of course, you need to have these events already scheduled on your calendar to make this happen. And so then, if somebody does need a second look or even a third look, sometimes that happens, we also want to make time, though, for the meeting after the meeting. And again, I think including the sponsor in this process is a really great idea. And so the meeting after the meeting, I can talk about our UBP. Our partners typically gather with the guests afterwards, and we make it very casual. It's in a restaurant setting. We have a private room. So it really lends itself to create a nice atmosphere where we, grab something to eat afterwards. And we will just pick people's brains. We want to get more information from them, get their feedback, get their initial thoughts, and we want to book a formal follow-up with them where we can provide more information. We can also bring some products with us to maybe have them try or just, look at. People love to touch and feel and smell. So, I would recommend incorporating that into your follow-up as well. We talked about the tickets. I also think showing the site is really a really valuable part of the follow-up. So we talk about all the time at the end of a presentation, our expectations of the guest is to, or the prospect is to book a follow-up immediately, but then also to register to be a preferred customer, because why not? Here, we're able to then show them what it looks like to earn cash back. We can help them download Shop Buddy to their computer and give a very brief shop.com tutorial so that they know how to navigate the site and just start to integrate online shopping into their regular routine. And then we want to talk about referrals. Who do they know? It's so valuable when you start looking at each prospect as really access to a network of 250 to 500 people, because that's the baseline network that every single person has. All of a sudden, when we start working through someone else's network with them, we can generate a lot of leads that way. And the best time to do that is always when someone first starts their business. You should be creating a launch event with them, which I'll get into a little bit more detail with. And also remember what it felt like when you were a brand new UFO, right? Everything felt out of your comfort zone. And so we want to help normalize that experience and hold people's hands. When JR says that when we're talking to prospects and new owners, we're talking to little babies, that's exactly where people are at when they first begin. They're overwhelmed. They're not really sure what to do. And so we have to literally walk them through each step of the process, to make them feel supported and feel comfortable. So from the time that they see the plan to the time that you have the follow-up booked, these are some things that you want to do to make sure that this appointment happens. Number one, you want to confirm the appointment. Last week, we talked about confirming the appointment to see the plan. You want to do the same thing with confirming the appointment for the follow-up. And I talked about, last week about, asking the person, is there anything that you foresee coming up to get in the way of you being available for our appointment on Tuesday at noon? Okay. I say that because I'm sending the message that I'm busy. I have a lot going on and my time is valuable. And I want to make sure, again, we're still at the qualifying stage here. I want to make sure that these people are looking at this as a business, as something that they're really going to treat seriously. You may send them a link to another webinar in between, the current time and when the appointment is. Give them the option to see it again. You may send them the About Market America document, or send them to your Market America site to start, perusing. Or you may choose some different videos from, YouTube, Unfranchise, Power Profiles, or Ryan and I, Ryan's got a very extensive video library, both on Directors Group U, there's some videos, and also on his personal site, thestackgrp.com. I know Judy was talking to somebody that had previously done one of the energy programs before, and was asking a lot of questions and comparing it to that model. And you know what? Ryan had done a video on that where he compared the two, and so Judy ended up using Ryan's video to help work through her conversation with that prospect. So again, use the resources that have already been established to help you in this process. That's why we spend so much time creating them for you guys. We're trying to make it easier than it was for us when we went through the process. And perhaps you even want to schedule a 3-way call even if it's during the actual follow-up appointment. I've told my team all the time, if you're comfortable going and doing these appointments on your own, great, go and do it. I don't want to hold you back, but try to pull me in even if it's just putting me on speaker, or if you're on the phone doing the follow-up, add me to the call, just again, so that they understand that the support is there and they can hear everything that you just said, just reiterated by me. So that way we're already introducing this idea, right, that sometimes people have to hear this plan 7 different ways by 7 different people 7 different times, right? And we want to give them that opportunity. And it just reinforces that what you're saying is exactly correct and exactly what we want them to hear. So we're really just we're reinforcing that you're a strong business partner and would be a great mentor for them. But we also need to make sure that we're always using professional language and we know how to handle questions and objections. And that's another great reason why we include our upline in the follow-up. That's how I learned how to handle objections, is I would listen to exactly what Ryan would say and how he would say it, because words, they matter. And we have to know when we're saying something that maybe is a little out of date or really doesn't apply to our business. So think about the difference in hearing you say, I joined Market America versus I started my own business. Okay. I joined Market America sounds like you joined a club. Okay. I joined the gym. Well, Market America is not a gym. It's not something that we just do whenever we feel like. This is a business that we check in on and we build every single day, right? I am a member of Market America. Again, it's not just a membership. Like, this is not a spending club or a savings club. This is a business. I do Market America. Same idea. And then watch the acronyms. Gary had to give me this feedback when he watched me show part of a plan. And it was great feedback. He said, we've got, UBPs, UFOs, BV, IBV, all of this just confuses the person listening to the plan. And so the same is true during the follow-up. We want to neutralize all of the acronyms that we use, and we want to refer to them in more general language. So we're not saying UBP, we're saying I'm hosting a business presentation, right? We're not saying BV, we're saying we have a point tracking system. And then we can introduce the idea of business volume, but they're really just points, and the points eventually equate into dollars, right? So this way it's very easy to follow. Again, I hit 1,200 and 1,200. Even when you guys are, a month into your business, sometimes you're still confused about, how do I earn that first $300 check? It's confusing. So if you're just referring to the points piece, you're going to confuse people. And when people feel confused when they're evaluating a plan, they're starting to question whether or not they can be successful in being a part of the business. Because if they just can't follow the lingo, then it's starting to feel sort of like over their heads. Does that make sense? So my sponsor's name is Dan. So I'm adding a little humor to this, but I mean, what kind of a meeting are we talking about when we say my sponsor, right? We may say my business partner or my mentor. Those are perfect ways to refer to the person who brought you into this business. I want you to meet people in my upline. I can say upline to you guys all the time. But when we use upline with people not familiar with the business, again, it doesn't have the same meaning. So what we're really talking about, though, is business partners, your support system in the business. I already have people below me. That sounds like a pyramid, and that's what people are thinking already, even if they haven't said that out loud. So the fact that you just said that to them, it's almost like validating their assumption, and we don't want to do that. So again, it's my business is already growing. Is this a pyramid? Now what I'm talking about is, things that people are typically thinking, okay? And you have to have answers to these things. And so, no, it's not a pyramid. I could go on about this. I could do a whole team training on this, but just a couple of facts. I mean, pyramids are illegal, right? How in the world? So I love to give the reasons why we're not a pyramid, but then support it with additional details. I think that's a great way of being able to reinforce how that we're really not a pyramid. So pyramids are illegal. Pyramids are just about recruiting warm bodies, and people get paid off of percentages, and it's really all about product sales. Our business is completely different. And so if we were a pyramid, how in the world would we have maintained an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau? And how in the world would we be the only business to have won the Torch Award now twice in our business's lifetime, right? So that's really great feedback. We're offering facts about the business, and we're going up against these assumptions about our business. Also, we can talk about, I'm familiar with pyramids, actually. I've been a part of an MLM before. Perhaps you have been. So if you have been, say this. And while I was working with that business, I was getting paid on percentages from the rest of my team, and I didn't like that. And so here I found a system that's structured completely differently, and we are actually all paid on 100% of the volume that moves through our site, but then we get to share that. And when I showed Max that today, he was like, wait, what? Oh, wow, really? And so when you either draw that out for someone or you show them a diagram of how our business works, that's really, really powerful. Then all of a sudden, they understand that we're not a pyramid. I had somebody also say to me, I get it, all the volume flows up. And I said, yeah, but are you getting that it also comes down? Because if you're not getting that it comes down before it goes up, then you don't understand that it's not a pyramid. And then once they really internalize that feedback, it really does reinforce what we're all about in our business. So is this Amway or is this multi-level marketing? Again, it's a great question. And there's a great PDF that is kind of floating around out there. I'll post it up to Directors Group for you. But it actually has an MLM structure on one side and our vertical marketing structure on the other side. And it's a great tool to break down how the two systems are exactly very different. So what I like to know when people are bringing up these types of questions, have they ever done an MLM business before? Or were they involved in Amway? Because it is very different. And when JR created Shop.com and Market America, the ways that he built our business were to completely what's the word I want to use? Oppose what Amway and other multi-level marketing companies were doing. Because, and this is a direct quote, he found that he could no longer sit across the table from the person evaluating the business and promise them that they could come into the business and earn the same income that he was earning, because it was no longer mathematically possible. Because that's what happens in pyramids, right? He saw the people at the bottom of those structures floundering. He saw them not being able to sustain themselves in the business. He saw other business owners cycling through many, many people. And that gets exhausting, right? When you're just recruiting people as in a warm body, that's not building a business. That's just it's like herding cats. I mean, who has time for that? So we took the best of franchising and networking, we eliminated all the flaws, and we break all the rules of the traditional home-based business. And that's what we demonstrate when we show the plan. So there are a few objections to this business that may come up during your follow-up. And one of them is about time. And I always laugh when people say this, I just don't have the time to do this. A lot of times I will stop them and I will say, wait, but aren't you already shopping for things? Like you go to Target, right? We all go to Target. You go to the grocery store, right? So I'm offering you a way of building a business off of buying those things, right? I'm offering you a way to build an ongoing income by converting over some product that's actually going to give you a return on your dollar. And it's about an 80% return on the dollar. So right now, what are you getting back into your pocket when you go to Target and you buy laundry detergent, shampoo, paper towels, and I don't know, toilet paper, kitty litter? I mean, none of that is fun to buy, right? So you're going to spend the money though for all of those things. I mean, you may or may not have a cat, but you know what I'm saying, right? Why not then take a little bit of time to learn how to do it online, to buy from yourself, and then put money back into your pocket? I don't know. To me, it's just a no-brainer because my time is important to me, and so is my money, and I'm not going to throw my money down the drain. I also like this response about, today no one seems to have the time with, the keeping up with the kids' activities, or, with all the hours that people are working, or with the lengthy commutes that they're making to work, or however you want to fill in the blank, right? But actually, we find that average people, just like me and you, build this business in small increments of time, just spent consistently throughout the week. So did you have 15 minutes today? Did you scroll on Facebook even for 15 minutes today? That's 15 minutes that I could set you up with some really solid business building. 15 minutes. And we can show them how to do that. Excuse me. You can agree with their comment and say, yep, I know, I agree with you. I didn't have a lot of time either. You knew my situation, right? I was working 40 plus hours a week. I was commuting 2 hours a day. I've got 3 kids that are all super involved in at least 3 activities every single quarter. I get it. I get that you feel that you don't have the time. But what is your other alternative? Right? Because if they're looking to fulfill a need, like add some extra income to their household budget, if they don't have time to put 15 or to 30 minutes a day towards this business, how are they going to go out and work a job waitressing or working in a retail store for a 4-hour shift, right? So, I mean, it's just really about their fear and their apprehension. I also tell people that a lot of time people join this business because they want to put more time back into their day. And, this is a real life example. I remember when Sharon first joined our business, and she said, this is the first Saturday morning in years that I actually sat down and enjoyed a cup of coffee and ate my breakfast and looked at a magazine. For a couple hours, I had nothing to do because this was the time I typically spent out running my errands. And now, since I was doing everything online and I got it done all week and it's all already shown up at my house, I didn't have anything to do that Saturday morning. And, it's great to use personal examples like that to oppose the objection about time. Money can also be a very common objection. And so if the only thing that's holding them back from starting this business is they don't have the $399 plus tax initial investment, you all know that we have the PayPal option, right? So it's 0% interest for 6 months with no minimum payment that is required during that 6-month period of time. So if they qualify for that PayPal line of credit, I say it's a no-brainer, right? Because if they're really, really committed to this business, and especially if they're willing to do the trial size marketing right off the bat, we can easily get them to make back their money plus more if they want to work that program. Um, the other really great idea is to have them set up a product event where you will come, you'll bring some product with you. All they need to do is maybe put out a couple of snacks and get people there. And you can use your sponsor or your upline if you're pretty new into the business as well. This is how we all collaborate and act as a team. But we can find somebody to review the products, maybe hand out some free samples during that product event, but also generate some sales. And even if we did, we offered some type of a coupon, or maybe, they got a gift with a purchase or something for the event. There are different incentives that we can put into place to really bulk up the opportunity for sales. And then the other piece is to have them start working through their network regardless. If they're really invested but they just don't have the money, then say, okay, you know what, in the meantime, if you can start, putting away, maybe it's $50 a week, okay? Let's book an event. We'll do your launch event prior to you actually getting, situated in the business. And this way, we can have people come and evaluate the business for you. And we might even find your first 2 partners right off the jump. So that way, if we can help them find the right people, we were already creating a profitable system for them, okay? And then maybe it's a little bit easier for them to part with, that $400 that, they're having a hard time coming up with. So I have to talk with my spouse or my partner. Again, a lot of times people feel uncomfortable making this decision without the support of their partner. And for me, I really want to be a part of that conversation because, listen, remember the game of telephone. All right. So if I say something to Mike and Mike says something to Karen and, we're all repeating the same message, by the time it gets to Karen and then goes to Alex and Joe and Sharon and Nancy and Nina, and then finally Ryan hears the message, it's going to be totally different, right, than what I originally said. And so when you've got a prospect that wants to go home and talk to their spouse or start talking to their friends and family, they want to bounce the idea off of people, the original message gets diluted. And they're going to be asked questions and things, and they're going to feel inadequate, right? And that it's totally normal, right? It's a normal process. So we want to support them during the process. And so posing the idea about being a part of that conversation would really help better answer the questions, better deliver that information. And also it's going to give them an opportunity to hear it for the second time again. Now think about in the beginning, how many times people asked you, have you started earning money yet? Yeah, how much are you making? And that's really hard in the beginning, right? Because sometimes we haven't made any money. And I always say there's 4 ways that we make money in this business. Our slide says 3, and I say we have 4. Because the first way really that we earn money is we save money, okay? So we're spending less by shopping through our site because we're ensuring that we're getting everything that we're shopping for at a cheaper price, right? And we're getting rewarded with our cash back. And I'm saying hundreds of dollars. I remember when Brandy first launched her business, she was keeping track of her savings for 1 month. It was a very, very good strategy. And she showed people how she actually saved more than $400 her first month in business. Okay. So that way she said, look, that's the $400 you could use to launch your business. It just makes exact sense, a complete financial logic to do this. The other thing is, you may not have earned a residual income check, right? A commission check, but you may have earned your retail commissions, and those are still earnings. So that would be something to share. And if you're not new, but you still haven't started making money, that's okay. Because sometimes we come in for different reasons. Perhaps you joined this business initially because you were buying so much product, it actually made financial sense for you to join the business and buy it at wholesale. And you really didn't intend to grow it in the beginning. But since you then had it in place and you started retailing, and then some of those customers started asking you about the business, it sort of unfolded in a very different way. So that could be an experience, okay? I wasn't thinking I was going to build, but now a lot of my customers are asking me about the business. So I'm just starting at, prospecting and sharing the business plan. It may be that you wanted to put this business in place because you knew in a couple of years you would be leaving the current job that you were at. And at that point, you wanted to start focusing on this. But in the meantime, you wanted to start accruing your points by shopping online. You wanted to get all of those rewards. Again, I think that's completely fine. And it could have been your experience. We all go into this at different paces and for different reasons. So your prospect may also say, let me think about it. I'm not really sure where I'm at with this. It was a lot of information to absorb, and so I just need some time to think. And we want to give them the space to think, but we also want to make sure that we book that follow-up. And so we can say, absolutely, take some time to digest what you just saw, start jotting down questions that you can think of, and let's just get something scheduled because I know you're busier than I am. And if it's not scheduled now, it's probably not going to happen. And I want to make sure that I can at least get your questions answered. We also can say back to this again about getting them to another event. Another great way to evaluate this business is to get to one of our events or get to one of our trainings. So look at your calendar and look at what the next thing is on your schedule. It could be a product party or a product coring that you're doing. It could be a local seminar, but you just want to get them to something. And here's another great response. Great, while you're thinking about it, why don't you try one of our products? I give everybody a sample of product that watches the business overview. As a thank you for taking the time, I do this, and I've gotten a couple of customers this way. So again, it's just another way of working through your list of people. They want to know, do I have to sell anything? Well, the answer is yes, this is a business, but you don't have to be like maybe the other MLM business you were previously a part of, meaning that you're doing these product parties. That's really how you make all of your income. We may do some of these, but they're not the majority of how we earn our money. And that's what people are worried about. They're worried about, do I need to schlep stuff all over the place to be successful in this business? Do I have to convince somebody in my network that they have to buy something from me? And so I just start talking about my own experiences with my customers. You know what? 97% of the people I talk to about this business, they don't want to retail. They've been there, done that. And you know what? 97% of those people all end up retailing by accident. And I will talk about different team members. I'll talk about how Allison started taking the OPC3. She didn't think she noticed a difference until her husband said, you know what? Now you're not taking your ibuprofen 4 times a day, and because you started taking the OPC3. And then she realized, yeah, you're right, and I don't have any pain. She shared that story with one person who then started taking the supplement, who then shared the supplement with other people, brought her more customers, and that one person eventually became a business owner. So that is a real life example. People love to hear the testimonials. Again, it makes it feel more real. And again, I say to people that I'm talking to, listen, when you find something that you really love, what do? You tell your friends about it, right? And that's exactly what I do. And I'm not asking them to buy it. I'm just saying I freaking love the trim tee. I love it. I feel great. And they're like, what is it? Tell me about it. Where do I get it? But, here you go. Here's a sample. You can get a box. I'll get you a preferred customer account, blah, blah, blah. And the rest is history. So again, it's just helping people feel a little bit more comfortable with the business that we actually have, not what they assume it is. If people are telling you that they're not interested before they're even seeing the plan, that's because they are. They're making some assumptions. So a great response to that is, I wasn't sure if you would be. Could we still get together? Because you know what? I know you're really busy, but you probably know the right people, and I would really appreciate your help. Okay, you're asking them now not to be interested in the plan. You're asking them to help refer some people your way. If they're telling you they're not interested after they see the plan, I still want to know what they liked best about the overview. I want to know what did resonate with them, because some part of it had to have. They're just afraid that the business is, there's some kind of maybe a scam or maybe some type of a loophole that, we didn't share. I remember Mike and I were joking around when we weren't joking, but now we talk about it. We were looking for that thing, we're like, God, there's got to be something wrong with this business, and we couldn't find it. And then finally we just trusted it and said, all right, it is what it is. And here we are. We can also ask if we can just stay in touch. Would you mind if I updated you every couple of months with our progress? I did that with a few prospects that I knew were really looking to make sure that I not only succeeded, but that I continued doing this over a period of time. No problem if you're not interested. Would you, though, be interested in trying some products for me, or perhaps referring some people that might be interested? All right. Now, the other way that we duplicate is when we are duplicating the whole 4-step process of building our business. And so I'm going to just spend a few minutes on this. I got to jump off really quickly. But this morning, Max and I sat for about an hour, and we started going through just the first 2 parts of the Getting Started guide, and we set up his site, and we introduced the idea of using the home shopping list, right? So 2 tools that came in his kit, the Getting Started guide and the home shopping list, to figure out where he starts with the products in this business, okay? And then the next things that we'll introduce is the whole idea of that we want to start showing the plan, approximately 2 plans per week. But when people just start off, I think the best way to start showing the plan is to have them host a little event where we can really introduce the business and give them their debut with Market America and Shop.com. And so we would help them show the business plan, obviously, but it's really an opportunity for them to get, the best of the best from their network together and, give feedback and ask questions and get answers. We also want to make sure that everybody has dates for upcoming trainings, including local seminars and UBPs. ECCT, just so you guys know, Gary is hosting one on March 2nd, so you want to make sure you've got that in your calendar if you're looking to attend. And we also want to start when we register partners into our system, that we right off the bat, we start working with them one-on-one so that they are working through this entire ABC system. So we know building in the homes works, and so that's why I think a launch event is really the best first event that they can host. We're going to make sure they have tickets to the next event, and we're always looking to spend 80% of our time with the people who are ready to get started and start building this business right away. Those are our go now people, okay? That's Max, who came ready and prepared, computer, getting started guide, taking notes, was eating up the meeting, right? So that's a person who's really invested already, talking about his next, coaching meeting with me for later on this week. And so you introduce the idea of this coaching needs to be consistent and regular, right? Because again, we're trying to build off of the knowledge that we learn during each session. So not only are we following up with potential prospects in terms of recruiting, we also need to make sure we're following up with our business partners to create duplication. And we're also always following up with our customers, because that is the opportunity to make recommendations for additional products, to see if customers need any reorders, to introduce any new products that have come out on the market. And so duplication comes from the bottom up, not the top down, okay? Meaning that we're looking to take our newest partners and start duplicating right off the jump, okay? We don't want to waste any time in this process. And by implementing the whole ABC pattern, what you start to create here is success, growth. You're seeing progress within your individual partners, and I get so much satisfaction out of that. That's why I love the training piece to this entire business, is because you literally see people come to life in this business. And also you start creating your own timing. So the more you're doing this, the better you get at it, and the more effective you become in your role as a duplicator. And we know the ongoing steps to success, right? We need to be using our products. We all have a responsibility to do all of these things. I'm not going to read verbatim off of these slides, but this is what we commit to when we say we're going to build our business in Shop.com and Market America. We need to lead by example. So I don't ever ask my team to do anything that I'm not willing to do, and they know that. And so everything that I'm doing then becomes sort of an expectation inherently, because they're watching me do it and I'm setting the pace for my team. So our challenge for week 4 is we want to make sure that you're following up with now 10 contacts this week. And remember, we're following up about the plan. Do they need to see it again? Do they need to get questions answered? Do we need to involve somebody from our upline? We're also, as we're at our week 4 in the accountability, we now want to make sure that by the end of this week, so Friday at midnight, we've hit the goal of 500 BV for the month. Again, if you've been doing the 125 every week, you're absolutely going to be there at the 500 mark. And the audio of the week this week is listening to Elizabeth Weber from our Northeast Regional Convention this past 2017. She was so dynamic, definitely worth your listen. And here's the big announcement for our February Accountability Award. Remember last month, people were awarded with getting to be on a phone call with Elizabeth Weber, which just was absolutely, fantastic. And I'll tell you, Elizabeth, when I listened to her during that call, it was so different than listening to her up on stage. It really, really was. She was so personable and so raw and vulnerable. She was sharing stories that I had never heard before. Ryan hadn't heard before either. It was fantastic. And so who we've got for you this month is Colton Whited. Now, I don't know if you guys know Colton. He and his wife are in their 20s. They started their business not too long ago, I think somewhere between 3 and 4 years ago. I think they're professional coordinators in the business. And they're also, Colton is the son of Stacy and David Whited. Wonderful, wonderful people. I could go on and on about them, but really just down to earth, humble, good people. And Colton is the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. So he's right there, right up there with them. They are growing really, really well. He has a great YouTube video about learning to show the plan. And he talks through how he learned to show his plan. it's going to be a great call. So I really encourage you guys to close out the accountability this month, get it all done, get your 500 BV. And the top 3 people from a points perspective are going to be able to participate in a live Q&A session with Colton during the call. So I'm excited for you guys, and this is going to be a great week. We're seeing an increase in the number of plans that are being shown, all because you guys are committed to these accountability groups, and so many of you did January's, and now in February, I know I've talked to people recently. Nina's got somebody who's interested in launching. I want to give one last update before we end this. Lauren Donovan, who I've been talking about a couple of times during these weekly calls. She did the trial size marketing for exactly 1 month. And these are her final numbers. She ended up with 26 new customers. She earned $786 in retail commissions. And she also now has 5 people that have seen the business plan and are very, very interested in joining the business. She's got 1 that is launching her business tomorrow evening. So all of that from trial size marketing for 1 month. Again, if you guys are interested in revisiting that idea, I do have a YouTube video on my YouTube channel, which is Shop Happy. So feel free to give that a second listen. All right, guys, it's after 9. I got to get my webinar started, but thanks so much for tonight. And any other questions or things, just give a shout out on Directors Group, and we'll make sure you've got everything you need. All right, have a great night. Take care.